Alright. Might be stuck here for a bit, folks. In light, you can hurt them. Well, yes, I know that. I want to look around for anything else I can use against them. And I mean anything else I can use against them aside from just... Is that a manuscript page? Wake attacked by a bulldozer.
The bulldozer's engine roared to life. Mud and rocks flew as it fought for traction. It crashed through the concrete wall and landed heavily in the yard. If it were an animal, it would have shaken its head after the impact, fixed its eyes on me, and charged. Of course, it had no head, nor eyes. Shadows crawled on its form, twisting it into a monster. Then, it came for me.
Be on the lookout for a bulldozer later on in this game, folks. Are there any flares, any sense of anything else useful around this area that I can pick up and use? I don't want to go up that mountain again because all those freaking birds were there, and that's what led me back to this thing in the first place. I honestly don't know why I'm freaking trying to climb over the light. Yeah, see, when they all team up on you like that, then like you're freaking... This is annoying. This one's gonna stay on longer now because I turned that one on second. I hate how these freaking lights are timed though. So stupid. Finally, thank the Lord. That was so freaking annoying. Grab this and run. Sarah just trusts Nightingale.
Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? What was this about an accident? Where was his wife? And most importantly, why did she let Wake go? He wouldn't answer her questions. Federal business was all he'd say.
Hello?
The most stubborn man I've ever met.
Alice? Alice?
Alan, I'm so afraid. He keeps me in the dark. Please help me. I look at you, Alan, and it's not you. Something else. Looking out from behind your eyes.
Alice, I'm here.
I'm so alone here. It's all gonna go to hell. You need to be careful. Cooperate.
The connection had been terrible, but that wasn't the only thing that hadn't been right with the call. She sounded wrong somehow, but she had called me.
Wake attacked by a possessed object.
The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself out of the way, but just barely. When I turned my flashlight on it, it shook in a dark rage before it flew at me again. I could see a railway bridge up ahead and a warehouse of some sort on the opposite shore. I hoped I could find a car from there.
Possessed object coming up next, folks. God, my throat's right out there, sorry. Coming up next, an attack by a possessed object. Oh, charming.
The darkness that was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path. What the?
Ouch. Okay then. What did I say about possessed objects?
On the opposite shore. I hoped I could find a car from there. The darkness that was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path.
Jesus. Waken the dark presence in the lodge.
I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole actually thought I would obey. I had no sympathy left, no guilt either, not for him. I took a moment to savor the scream. I bet I had a smile on my face. It was all that I had time for. The dark presence was inside the lodge with me. As a teenager, just starting to get interested in writing, Stephen King had been a source of inspiration to me. I thought about all the inanimate objects that had come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna get more and more difficult if the game goes on. Possess objects, people, machinery, vehicles. God, I was getting jumped from all sides again. What did I tell you?
Come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
Heavy duty flashlight, I guess that's supposed to be a stronger flashlight for you to use. Guess we can try it out and see how it works. Well, I was stuck behind a tree there, so I couldn't do anything. Again, you can boost your...
Come to
Yeah,
life
I
in
know
his
that.
books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
Flare. Thermos again. Make sure I'm all set up here. Alright. No one said he was gonna bum rush me like a football player. At least there's a checkpoint here. Let me reload my gun again. Yeah, I know that. In light, you can hurt them. Yeah. This heavy-duty flashlight doesn't seem to be doing very much.
We take the facts of our existence for granted, unaware that they are merely a thin veneer of desperate self-delusion, covering the vast cosmos of madness and horror.
Wake attacked by the dark
The
presence.
darkness surged towards me, sucking everything loose from the ground into its depths, tugging at my clothes. I saw the flare the kidnapper had dropped and threw myself towards it just as I felt my feet leave the ground. The darkness embraced me with the force of a tornado. Somehow I managed to light the flare. The darkness roared and cast me away. I fell toward the dark waters of the lake far below.
All too often, the stars are right.
Ow. The hell was that about? Remember when I was talking about a killer bulldozer? I couldn't dodge there. I was completely out of stamina. And apparently no matter how far away you get from this goddamn thing, it's gonna come after you either way. Ay, ay. See, it's hard to run from the bulldozer at the same time that you have 3 different guys trying to attack you. Alright. Come on, the big gun. And you can't climb out of the area, you can't do anything like that, you're just forced to like stay in like this one small section. Like, how do you... Not gonna lie, I kind of miss my other flashlight right now. Normal difficulty is the worst. I told you there was going to be a killer bulldozer. Did I not say there was going to be a killer bulldozer? Could you like... Alright, you know what I need to do? I need to drop one when it's coming at me, drop one surrounding me so I can pick up the things that I need to pick up. Because I don't think they're going to come near me if they see a flare surrounding me. Because they hate the light. Excuse you. This is gonna tick me off. Jesus. These last two parts have had like probably like the hardest parts of the game so far. My lord.
I had never been this glad to see the sunrise. I had a couple of hours to get to the coal mine.
Can we talk about the fact that Barry's probably still knocked out?
Today, I would meet the kidnapper, and he would give me Alice. I wouldn't give him any other choice. A drowning man will clutch at a straw. Little by little, without realizing it, I'd come to believe that the story in the manuscript was coming true. The current of its narrative had taken me deeper and deeper into dark waters.
I love the fact that the headlights are still on the
Barry
car.
was probably in jail. I was a fugitive from the FBI. The whole world taken over by the dark presence was trying to destroy me. It all felt real, but it matched a textbook case of insanity.
I do like that you can drive in this, so it's not just like always walking on foot. And it makes sense too because it's daytime, so I don't think they want you. I don't think it would make much sense to walk on foot in daytime where you're pretty much safe. And I don't think I'm gonna end up finding any manuscript pages in the daytime either. I think everything is like all the collectibles and stuff are pretty much been reserved for nighttime, aside from those thermoses that we found at the beginning of this chapter. Of course, I could be wrong, but so far that's the general theory. There is a watchtower up here. I want to go look at that real quick.
This is Pat Main, and you're listening to KBF-FM. Folks, I want to apologize for kind of abandoning you to that looping music track last night, but I was detained. You see, I encountered a big-shot G-man with an itchy trigger finger who could use a lesson in manners and a boot in the ass. Not necessarily in that order, either. Now, folks, I know I'm not being very informative here, and I apologize for that. I really should just keep quiet, but I'm just so peeved right now, because some people just shouldn't be carrying badges. And I'm just glad that our Sheriff Breaker was there to straighten things out. And if someone I met last night is listening, let me just say, I'm sorry if my mouth got you in trouble. I'm pretty sure you're not the bad guy here. Godspeed, son. I hope you know what you're doing. Now, on a lighter note, I'll be talking to Dr. Nelson all morning. But first, a little music.
Well, obviously your radio show will be interrupted. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, moving onward. Oh damn, that drift. Okay. I think you can drift this car. Okay.
I was early. I was supposed to meet the kidnapper at noon in the main building. The coal mine was quiet. It was a museum now.
How much bed is already in there? Oh, there is a manuscript page here. Okay. Sarah and the radio station.
With Nightingale gone and the night wind blowing in through the broken studio window, Maine stared at Sarah. The sheriff looked away. Maine's voice shook with barely controlled anger. That boy's doing more drinking than thinking. I hope you know what you're doing, Sarah. He's got a sickness in his eyes. You take my word for it. He wants Wake for a reason, and it's not for anything good.
In 1970, a volcanic eruption below Cauldron Lake, while relatively minor, caused most of the deep mining tunnels to collapse or flood. 32 miners lost their lives in the calamity, and all mining around Bright Falls came to a final stop. Now many of the remaining buildings are protected as historical landmarks. That was a nice little transition into the cutscene there.
I didn't want to go outside. Cops had to be looking for me. The noon sun turned the place into a sauna. The day dragged on. Different scenarios ran through my mind. Ways of how I'd torture the kidnapper to get Alice back. Or the different horrible things he could have done to her. I imagined her dead. I had no way of knowing she was still alive. It was killing me. I was running on blind hope. It was all a waste of time. The bastard never showed up.
Well, shit.
Wake,
Where the hell are you?
change of plans. You know where Mirror Peak is? It's a big mountain north of where you are. You follow the path from the mine, you can't miss it. There's a lookout point there. I'll be waiting.
I'm through being jerked
You
around by
want to
you.
see your wife alive? Because if you do, you better watch what you say to me. Do we understand each other?
I want to talk to Alice.
Yeah, and I want the manuscript. Don't keep me waiting, Wake.
Hello? Hello? Ah! I'm gonna kill him.
I had to get to Mirror Peak. It was close. Maybe closer than ever before.
I was like, how do you get down from here? Oop. Thomas Zane in love with Barbara
When
Jagger.
Thomas Zane fell for Barbara Jagger, it happened fast. She was young, vibrant, and beautiful, full of life. He had never been a very happy man, and without any seeming effort, she had changed all that. Zane felt good for the first time in his life. Everything she did was another piece of a jigsaw puzzle he hadn't even known he'd been missing. And best of all, she made the words flow, strong and sharp. She was his muse. When Thomas Zane fell for Barbara Jagger...
There we go. Alright, at our max limit for the ammo there, huh? I think the only good thing about the heavy duty flashlight is that the battery lasts longer, but it seems like it takes a little bit slower amount of time to drain some of the darkness away.
The only way to reach the hillside ahead was to go through the building. I had to find a way to avoid electrocution.
I hope the drifts I'm getting with this freaking car. Problem solved. Well, shit. God, that was chaotic. Fucking. I was gonna say, I'm gonna get jumped any moment here. Alright. Onward and upward. Follow. Wake touched by the dark presence.
Some of the Taken retained echoes of their former selves, but these were just the nerve twitches of a dead thing. Nothing remained but a shell covered and filled with darkness. In most cases, these puppets were enough for the purposes of the dark presence. But for anything more elaborate, as with the writer, it was different. It needed his mind. And so rather than taking him over completely, it merely touched him.
Make sure I get everything in here before I do that, just in case it triggers like a cutscene or something.
There was no way the flashbang grenades were standard power company equipment.
Another downside about the heavy-duty flashlight is that it consumes more batteries than just a standard flashlight did. So maybe it wasn't the best idea to switch out to that. waken Barry in the cell.
I stared through the bars of the jail cell. Barry stood behind me, swaying on his feet, looking as ill as I felt. Agent Nightingale stood on the other side of the bars with Sheriff Breaker. Nightingale had a stack of manuscript pages in his hand. He seemed unhinged as he gloated. Well, I've got you now, Raymond Chandler. It's all here. All the evidence, including conspiracy to murder a federal agent.
Alright. Okay. Let's see where we go from here.